Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine, and this is the preview show. I'm your host Khalid Mohideen. It's the show where we talk about the first ODI between South Africa and Pakistan, which starts tomorrow, 10 a.m. South African Standard Time, and it will be played at Centurion Super Sport Park. So we will be talking about who we think will play in this match, first and foremost, and then we'll also talk about who we'd like to see. So there's a massive distinction between the two, because some of us will say that we there's a certain player that we would like to see, but that's not, maybe not who we think that Boucher will pick. We'll also be dabbling a little bit into talking about the Boucher press conference, which is also something that happened today as the pre-match press conference. So that's very important that we speak about that and talk about some of the points that stood out to us, of course. We'll be having Paul on the show today as well. I'm not sure who else will be joining us, but we will wait and see. But majority of this preview is going to be with me and Paul, and we're going to be chatting because it's been a long time since we've actually had a conversation about cricket. So it'd be good to see his face once again. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Click that notification bell before we get into anything of today's topic. So first and foremost, I thought that Boucher's press conference was as expected. I think there wasn't anything that really jumped out to me from left field or anything. I think some of the stuff. I think the only thing that really maybe surprised me is that he actually said where Bavuma is going to bat. He basically said exactly what's going to happen there, and he also said what he thinks about Aiden Markram and where he should bat as well in the lineup. But other than that, it's been pretty much the same thing with regards to his style of cricket that he wants to play, this brand of cricket that we're always hearing that they want to play. And interestingly enough as well, he mentioned that they will be adding a certain aspects of certain types of batting styles to their game, or certain type of techniques to their game to increase certain skills that they do. So that is something that we're also going to be chatting about. But let's just bring on Mpo so we can get the show on the road. Welcome to the show.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Good on you.
Chill. I was also listening to that press conference. It seemed like the start of same press conference, like the start of the. Who did we play in T20s this year? Did we play Sri Lanka in T20s? No, we didn't. Pakistan series, Pakistan, where he was talking about this aggressive brand of cricket, and he's worked with the guys to try and add extra shots to their game. Same type of thing, which is, I was like, okay, this is deja vu. But yeah, it's going to be interesting though. Look, it's what makes even interesting is obviously because we need to get points on the Super League log, because we need to qualify for a World Cup. So that's even more important. So that's going to be front and center.
Yeah, I think.
But he mentioned, he mentioned something about Aiden Markram that I found very interesting. He was like, if Aiden Markram's batting in over 40, he's probably got 100 or close to that. And that's a card that he has up his sleeve. But then the question is Aiden competing with Yanaman Malan for the opening spot? Because it kind of gave me more clarity as to, okay, Yanaman and Aiden are fighting for one spot, Timber's at 3, and then number 4 is going to be obviously between Rassie and whoever it is. But it was just something I was like, oh, okay, so you want Aiden to be batting for a very long time.
Yeah, and that's something that I also got from the press conference. Now, I wrote a piece earlier today, before the presser actually, about who I would like to see play and what I think South Africa will do. I said that this particular ODI series is very important to find the balance and the gaps within the lineup, because it's one of those situations where you're sitting here and you're like, who are the mainstays in this particular side? Who do they trust? And the only way you can see that is by looking at how they've selected over the past couple of games that they played. So for over a year now, since Australia that we played, in England we played, we can see at some of the guys that they've trusted through all of those difficult periods. And when I look at it and I have a look at the lineups, I can really only say Quentin de Kock, Temba Bavuma, Rassie van der Dussen, David Miller, Kagiso Rabada, Lungi Gideon, Bray Shamsi. Now, I haven't added Andrich Nokia into this list because of the amount of games he's played in ODIs. So he hasn't played a number of above 20 to say, like, look here, they fully trust him as the extra seamer in this particular, as the main seamer in the side. So obviously KG Lungi, they've trusted a lot more, I feel, in white ball cricket. So I think Andrich's spot is still up for grabs, I feel, even though I would select him in my side any day of the week. It doesn't mean that's maybe what the brain trust is thinking with regards to bowlers. Now, there are other bowlers as well in the side that need to get an opportunity. You know, you heard about Sasanda Magala. We're not so sure about the fitness about that. We have Lazard Williams. We have Darren de Pavilion. We have other seamers as well, Junior Dala as well, putting up their hands. And Paul, I'm going to ask you first and foremost, before we get into who we think the Proteas will select for this ODI series, who are some of the guys that you would like to see play in this match?
Look, first, I think I'd like to see Anrich in ball 10 overs in Protea Green. I think that's something that we all need to see. I think my thinking around this is also done with this whole Super League thing, because I don't want us to be caught in a hole somewhere in the next couple of years, and we've been trying to give everyone an opportunity and not winning games. So I think the most important thing that I think Bart and the guys will be looking to win games. But with that in mind, I think that the third seamer spot, because I know Andile's spot as an all-rounder has been solidified quite a lot in the ODI format. So it's obviously that third seamer, because obviously Andile is that all-rounder fourth seamer. So Luto Sapamla, Sisana Magala, you can fit in there. Andrich Nokia, you can fit in. So there's a lot of it's going to be very tough to fit those guys in, Lazard and all of those guys into that spot. What I do think might happen is that once the IPL guys leave on Sunday night after that pink day, you'll then get obviously the Lazards will get a game. Sisanda will get a game, most likely, or one of those three. But then the rest of the guys will get games in the T20 series, because obviously we no longer have the IPL guys. So I think it's going to be, because obviously you want to see guys play, but I'm sitting there going, actually no, I want to see what Boucher and Temba and Enoch think is the best 11 to take South Africa forward over the next 4 years. And that's what we're going to see tomorrow. That's what I hope to see tomorrow and on Sunday. And then after Sunday, we're then going to see who the next best guys to fill in the gaps if there are weaknesses, like that all-rounder spot. If Andile's batting isn't that great, do we then need to consider Andile as a seamer and as a third seamer and then try to find another all-rounder? Or do we need to try to find someone who can bat a little bit more, but not bowl as well as Andile? So that's the one option. Obviously, Tabrez owns those spin 10 overs. I'd also would like to see maybe Keshav get a role outside of Tabrez. I know both aren't going to the IPL, so you might get a situation where, because I know Keshav's not playing in the T20s, so I'd like to see Keshav get an opportunity to at least put his hand up for any white ball cricket. From a batting front, once the IPL guys go, you have a tasty prospect of Yanaman Malan opening with Aiden Markham on Wednesday next week, which is probably one of the most exciting things we'll ever get to see. And obviously without David Miller, who could be that replacement outside of David Miller? So there comes in the Calvarainers and everything else. So because we're playing 3 ODIs, we might see those guys in one game while the rest go to the IPL, because you still want to give Temba the opportunity to see the skill set of the IPL group, because they're the guys he's going to be using at the World Cup later this year. So he needs to figure out, even on a larger scale, when we condense it to T20, what the guys can do. And also start bringing in the philosophy, because Temba's going to lead us to 3 World Cups. So we kind of need to get him up to speed and give him the best tools to play with. And obviously then on Wednesday onwards, we'll then look at who can come in, who can fight for places. It's a little bit tough because obviously guys like Yanaman scored a century in the last match. Heino Klaassen also scored runs. So it's just a little bit awkward now because it's been 2 years and now things have changed and guys haven't had a lot of game time. So yeah, I think those guys, the Miguels, the Dupavilons, we'll see later next week. Right now, it's just, I think it's put your best foot forward, win some games, get those 10 points, go on Sunday, get those 10 points, and then on Wednesday, try get those 10 points with the next group so we can see what we have. Because obviously, once guys start losing form, you want to kind of move to the England model where if guys start losing form, you kind of just tell them to go back to domestic cricket, pull somebody back up from there who's already ready to play and ready to bat or ready to bowl. So I think that's the way they should look at it.
Mm. Yeah, because I mean, I was always saying that there needs to, with regards to balance. I mean, you knowing me, I'm all about giving guys opportunities, etc., and trying to find that last few spots. I mean, if it was up to me, I know about this whole the Super League that is happening right now. And if it was up to me, I want continuity, of course, to give the guys a proper opportunity. One game is not enough to see who is capable to play in a specific position. Now, you'll have to team it up in pairs then. So Temba has to play because he's captain, and I would put him over there at number 3 because he needs to get some continuity in these tournaments and on all those series that he can find. And then find a partner for Quinton de Kock. That's the other aim. So you either play Janneman or you play Aiden, and that's how they're going to look at it, I feel. So I'm trying to think now, are they going to play Aiden there or they're going to play Aiden at 4? And then there's Rassie still. So by the time we get to the 2023 World Cup, I think Rassie will be 34.
That's fine.
At that particular stage, at that particular stage, he'll need to be at the peak of his career that time, and we'll know exactly what he's going to be giving us. That's why I thought I'll leave Rassie at. If it was me, I would leave Rassie in at 4 in this particular team so that he can show what he's capable of with regards to a seniority in the side. Now we know what Quinton gives us. We know what those type of guys give us. But seeing that this Super League is going to throw things off, you need to pick a team that you're confident can win the game. Now, where the toss-ups will come, I think the guys that are actually fighting for spots over here, Janneman, Heinrich, Aiden now thrown into the mix as well. And then Kyle Verreynne is another guy who has performed well for South Africa in the past against Australia, particularly. He showed some signs against the other teams as well, but I mean, particularly against Australia, he played really well. And I feel that he has the right mentality that we need, because South Africa's always struggled in World Cups to get over the line or get into semi-finals or get into quarterfinals or even get into finals. And I think there's a weakness mentally, and I think he holds all the criteria or attributes mentally to get people to be able to play under pressure or to have the ability to be playing under pressure. I think me and you can maybe discuss.
So let's talk about those 2 spots, right? So it's the opening spot and it's the number 5/6 spot, depending on where David Miller bats, whoever's going to bat there, right? So that opening spot's pretty interesting, right? So the most logical way to go about this is the Janneman and Aiden are going to get 2 opportunities. One batting with Quinton, one batting together, right? So tomorrow, whoever starts tomorrow doesn't start the pink day. And then the last ODI on Wednesday, they both start because Quinton's going to go. You can't deny the IPL guys. If you're not going to play an IPL guy, you could have just not brought him into the bubble.
Yes, so that's my point.
All the IPL guys will play. So there's no resting. There's no giving guys opportunities at that point. But there are spots in the lineup that needs opportunities. Andile's passed his fitness test, so Andile will bat probably at 7. Right, makes our batting lineup a little bit too short. But so let's figure out the 6 batsmen. Obviously, got Temba 3, so that's the opening spot. So they might have to share it for this series. 5 and 6, you might have to do the same because Kyle and Heinrich aren't going to the IPL, right? So you might have to try and jiggle it up, and then when David Miller exits, you may have to bring them in. But I do think that also there's a guy we need to consider, Vian Mulder, batting there. The question then you got to ask Mark Boucher is, I know he needs another batsman who can give you a few overs. So Aiden Markham kind of puts himself in that ambit that he can give you a few overs of spin if things fall apart. But I don't think Aiden can, because remember with JP Germany, JP Germany could give you a full 10 if somehow he arrived and there was a ranked turner. I don't think Aiden can do that. So you still find yourself in a situation where you might need a sixth bowler somewhere in the middle overs, and that's why Vian Mulder is very interesting coming in batting in at 6, because then you've got your 4 seamers, and you have that 5th one playing that Ben Stokey role that he might bowl or might not. So Vian Mulder also needs to be considered into that 5-6 role, possibly even 7 if Andile Pehluwa is not fit. But I do think Boucher said he's fit. So what that means is that he's probably going to play tomorrow. Pehluwa, so that's at 7. So that's the conundrum I think they're going to have, and we'll probably see tomorrow how he feels. We know Boucher's affinity to try go for a lot of bowling all-rounders at 6 and 7. So that's going to be very interesting to see. And also, there could be a possibility, for instance, if you're not going to play Tabrez tomorrow, you play an orthodox spinner in either Keshav or George Linder, or George is not in the squad, it's Keshav, and then you don't play Tabrez, but then you still have your 4 seamers behind him. So Keshav will bat at 7 and Andile will bat at 8 to kind of lengthen that batting lineup. Then you can still play your 6 batsmen. But it's going to be very interesting tomorrow what they're going to do for Temba, because if, let's say, the Pakistanis take a liking to one of those batsmen, where does Temba look to find that extra bowler? And I think that's going to come into. So I wouldn't be surprised if Vian Mulder gets an opportunity to bat at 6. But then that places a lot of pressure on the top 5 to make sure that they bat long enough that the 5 of them carry the team at least 40 overs. And then Vian and Andile can carry the team the other 10. And the tail, which still leaves us in a little bit of a conundrum, because that's the way we've always played cricket. So we need to find some guys who can bowl and bat lower down the order. So there's a lot of thinking around that, and that's why I think Andile's place, and this is a very important series for Andile on both ends, because his spot could go, because his batting's not up to. He needs to get his batting up to scratch in order for him to get himself in, because with the seamers we have, like, there might be a point where you can say, actually, we don't necessarily need him. So that's that. I think that's a conundrum, because if you want to, so what's the score we want to get tomorrow on the Highveld? Probably plus 300. And the only way we can probably do that is if you have guys, 7 batsmen you trust, and Vian Mulder then could come in as that 7th batsman, or even Keshav. So it's a very interesting headache they have tonight. Up until obviously Sunday night when the IPL guys go, because I think the team writes itself from then on.
Yeah, I think I think for the first 2, with the IPL guys that are in the team, if you're going to pick every single IPL guy that's going to the IPL, if you're going to pick every single one, which is 5 of them, it's easy to pick the rest of the team then, because then you have to pick Lungi, you have to pick KG, you have to pick Anrich, Muller, and Quinny. So if you pick those 5, and you're definitely going to start, because makes no sense to me. Otherwise, those just would have went to the IPL straight.
That's my thinking.
Yeah, so they obviously going to play them then. And that's my thinking. Now, then the rest of the team is easy, because Temba's on the bat at 3, Boucher confirmed that. Quinton's going to open the batting. Then it's just a partner for Quinton. And then you've got 4 Rassi, 5 Muller. So you have to pick your number 4 and your number 6. Now, in this particular setup, I would go with Aiden at 4 or something like that in this opening game. I would like to see him play under pressure, because if you're going to give a guy a chance, give him a chance over the next 3 games. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll play the team that they think is their best team, and that's the thing that we're going to be able to see. That we're going to see,
so
even though Faf is not here.
So here's the thing.
Which is not going to play the ODIs.
Yeah, so I think with Aiden, we just need to understand that Aiden's going to bat at either 1 or 2. He's going to open regardless, and it's going to be all the way to 2023. The three of them rotating the opening spot with Yanam and Milan.
Yeah,
There's
you
no
see,
way.
the thing about Aiden for me is Aiden's press conference and what he said there compared to
Yeah.
what Boucher said is contradictory. Because Aiden was
Yes.
talking about being a versatile player, batting anywhere in the top 4, and then Boucher made it seem like he's going to bat opening. So there's a little bit of a
So,
contradictory
but then he
thing
said
over
something in
there.
his press conference where he said he's only opened and he's been asked to bat at 4, but he's also been asked to do what he knows. And we
Yeah,
need to, and for me, that's the more fairer way. We've seen with South African cricket where we're now making people bat out of positions that they know
yeah,
that they don't normally do. Aiden
yeah,
scored a bucket load of runs before the World Cup opening, so let him open, and he must fight with Yanaman Malan. I'm sorry, but it's going to have to come down to those guys.
yeah. It's
And
going
and
to.
and and, and if you're not on form and you don't make it in, it's going to come down to those guys. Yes, if Rassie doesn't, because Rassie's earned his spot in this ODI side. Rassie's earned that number 4 spot. There's no way we're going to now start pushing Rassie out. And what Rassie needs, and this is the other conundrum you have, is the guys going to IPL don't have a lot of game time. So they need to play cricket. So you need to get Rassie playing cricket. You need to get Andile playing cricket. You need to get Heinrich playing cricket. You need to get Calvarena playing cricket. So that's where I think you kind of are stuck in terms of experimenting. But I think there are areas we're solid on. Number 4 we're solid on because Rassie's done a great job since he started batting, playing for the Proteas. It's just, I think, yes, you need to be comfortable because here the question might come in case if there's an injury or if something happens, Aiden needs to be versatile to bat anywhere in the top 4. I think that's where the thing comes in to say, okay, maybe we might want to push Rassie down to 5 because David Miller's gone and we want to bring Rassie down to 5, give Aiden an opportunity at 4. But it's not about, and the thing about Aiden punishes you at the top. He doesn't he can punish you in the middle, but I'd want, Aiden Markham's the type of guy, if him and Quinton de Kock are on song and they don't lose their wicket and they bat for 30 overs, you're already probably around about 200, 220 after those 30 overs. That's how deadly they can be. And that's where you want a guy like Aiden Markham. That's where you want a guy like Yanaman Malan. Yes, he can bat at 4, and probably that can develop, but make him play that at the Titans.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, Boucher specifically said that he wants to play the guys where they've been playing for their franchises. So that was a good sign for me that he's thinking about all of these things as well. Let me just talk about the Pakistan team. Who are some of the guys that maybe stand out to me first? I'll then you can go on, Paul. I think obviously the captain Baba Azam for me is always a danger man for me. I think Fakar Zaman as well, maybe, if you're going to talk about him. Mohammad Rizwan for me is always a danger man, especially if they lose some wickets. It's not over for Pakistan in my eyes. I think they have quite a strong middle order. Hassan Ali, I think in this particular conditions on Centurion, the bounce, etc., and Shaheen Shah Afridi with the left arm seam, I think that's going to be very, very tricky for South Africa to play. But of course, as always, the spinners as well. Shadab Khan can always be dangerous. We don't know how these big wickets are going to be playing in like winter, in a way you could call it, maybe. So it's not really in the middle of South Africa's summer. So we don't know how these wickets are actually going to play up. You saw Boucher speaking about him wearing a hoodie because it was, and that's 2:00 in the afternoon. I mean, wearing a fleecy top or whatever it was, saying that it is a bit chilly there in Johannesburg, Pretoria area. So we don't know how those wickets are actually going to play out in April. We'll have to wait and see tomorrow how it will be. But and first and foremost, I don't think that they will play 2 spinners. Okay, that's not going to happen. I think if they do play spinner, it will be 1 or none. So that's the 2 options that they'll take. But and knowing Boucher, I think he always wants the option of having 1. Now, there's something about I want to talk about because Temba will probably have thought about this already, according to what Aiden said in his press conference, that Temba's the type of guy that thinks before a game, plans before a game, and that's how he approaches things. So he would have probably known by now who is he going to be picking and what they're going to be doing, what their plans are going to be doing according to the conditions. Who do you think is going to be the danger guys from Pakistan side, in your opinion, on ball?
Shadab Khan. I think the way South Africa plays Shadab Khan, we've seen in that final, South Africans really struggle with spin. And it's for me, it's about managing the middle overs. And what South Africa have on their end is Andile Phehlukwayo, who's like a master in the middle overs. He just does incredible things with the spinner on the other end. Pakistan are gonna try use Shadab Khan as that guy to take frequent wickets in the middle overs because of the inability for the South Africans to pick his googly. If they struggle to do that, they might find themselves in a bit of trouble. And I think that's what Baba Azam's going to try and do. He's going to use Shadab Khan to stop the game. I don't think Pakistan will play two spinners. I do think they are comfortable playing two spinners because Shadab bats in the top 6, so you have the luxury of still having your five bowlers and one of them still being another spinner. And if they play that, I think that will play into their hands, because I do think in limited overs cricket, even with conditions like you get in South Africa, you would need that second spinner, and your two spinners would possibly bowl 15 overs. I think in Pakistan's case, they could possibly bowl 20 tomorrow, because I do think it'll be a lot drier. We've had a little bit of rain around, so there might be something early in the morning, but later in the day, it's going to just slow down. And if Pakistan are defending a total, Shadab Khan's going to be very important with that. But obviously, the guys we picked, I think, are really good players of spin outside of Yanaman Malan at the top. But we'll see how that team goes. But for me, it's Shadab Khan who can probably cause South Africa a lot of problems. Baba Azam, Fakhar Zaman, and Imam ul Haq are going to be very key. The trick here is getting a score of about 280 plus tomorrow. South Africa haven't played an ODI in 2 years, so you're going to have to build. And this is what Timber's going to be thinking about, how to build the innings. Obviously, Quinton's probably going to have the free role. Aiden's or Yanaman are going to be allowed to back themselves in. So Quinny is probably going to be allowed to try and dominate the bowling. The ball's going to come onto the bat on the high felt. He's going to probably try and hit the ball square. He's going to probably put it in his areas. Aiden and Yanaman, whoever's going to be opening, are going to try and bat for a very long time, like they did against Australia. Yanaman batted really well when he got that 100. It's about consuming overs for that second partner to Quinton. And then obviously the rest of the guys will have their plans, and Temba will probably be playing the anchor. Rassi will be there to try and take the team to the next level, and then you'll have Verena and Klaasen, who will try and move that motor forward. But obviously the thing with South Africa's bowling is that they need to break that opening stand. Both openers, Imam ul Haq, Zaman, really, really, really love fast-paced bowling. I look back at that the Champions Trophy they won and how they dominated fast bowlers throughout that tournament across England. And so I kind of think that that's what's going to happen tomorrow, especially on the high field, because the ball flies. And it's really lovely. It's really easy. You don't need to do much, just a lot of timing. And you're good to go. So I think those are the guys that can hurt them. Rizwan is going to be also very key. He's in form, and how Shaheen Shah Afridi bowls to Quinton de Kock tomorrow is going to be very important. Left armer to left hander is going to be really, really key, and also to Aiden Markham with the ball that's swinging in. I think that's going to be a really lovely battle to watch. I do think in the ODI scheme of things, in the rankings, I think Pakistan and South Africa are equally matched, with every team bringing out their stars. There are a couple of guys that are unknown from a Pakistan side, but what they can give you is a really, really great contest. The question obviously is, what's the plan? Do you want to go? Because right now, if you score over 300, you guarantee yourself a chance in a game. In ODI cricket, 300 is at about par. So that's what my thinking is, and I'm trying to figure out what Timber's going to be thinking in terms of what's an appropriate target. We can't, if we get anything less than 300, I think we're going to probably be putting ourselves in trouble. And so it's just obviously the approach of the Pakistani batsmen, especially having that firepower at the top, and obviously Baba Azam in that middle order. to try and just bring them through. So I think that's something that's going to be interesting tomorrow as to what's the score, what's a good score. But I do think watching the England series on pitches that were pretty flat, they managed to score over 300. This one's very interesting because it's a little bit quick, but the ground is a little bit smaller, so you could get a little bit more runs, value for your money there. So, yeah, I think that's what might happen tomorrow.
Yeah. So I think the main talking point that I can take away from this, guys, is the lineup tomorrow is going to give us a lot of insight into what Mark Boucher and the Brains Trust are thinking about the team going forward, because it will most likely be the team that they believe is the best from the current squad that is available. So, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Don't forget to obviously do all the things that we love you to do. Go like, comment, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell for all future videos. I've got one message to you. Go to clickerfanaticsmate.com for all updates. Tomorrow we will be bringing you reports from about the game, etc. So we'll be keeping you updated on what we think about the game, etc., and all of those type of things. Thanks a lot for tuning in, Paul. Thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Just one last thing. You can follow us on Guerrilla Cricket SA, GUERILLASA. Will be have a little live watch along with the guys, and a little bit of a scoreboard there. So you can follow us and also interact with us as well.
Especially if you guys don't have DSTV and can't watch the game. I'm not sure if it's going to be played on SABC at the time.
It should be on SABC.
It should be as well. Okay, then.
But like we're alternative, so it's just you can have us in your ears, you can watch the game, and we'll be just having conversations and stuff.
So yes, guys, please go support them as well on Paul as well. Go follow him on Twitter and all of those things as well. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll be again back tomorrow after the game to give you a review of everything that happened. So I hope Paul can join us too on that particular stream, but we'll be doing that as well. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you guys again. Take care, everybody, and enjoy the game.